Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of a situation going on over at Nijisanji, and this time it's to do with Vanta. Now, Vanta has actually addressed a lot of the kind of sensitive comments and stuff that has been coming out, regarding him and a lot of members of Nijisanji, essentially calling out some of the behavior by a lot of parasocial fans. More so, if you guys don't know, a lot of people call them Nijisisters. Now, obviously, the Nijisisters have been involved with a lot of different kind of things, including, obviously, Aether, who, if you don't know, is Astor Arcadia, or used to be Astor Arcadia, and has now moved to his new, face cam setup and everything like that, right? Well, a lot of the people that have been supporting him have been the Nijisisters, and they've been, kind of defending him. And there's, they're kind of like a group of people who are very parasocial, very unhinged, and obviously even the talent are getting to the point where they're getting pretty fed up. And obviously this entire video here has been catching quite a bit of attention, as he actually addressed a lot of these sensitive questions and addressed the behavior of a lot of these fans, which I wanted to go through and kind of talk about and just kind of unpack all of this for you guys and get a little bit more of a community feedback on it. So let's get into it. Let's see.
I'm just about to get down to business. Perfect timing. Music's off, as I think this deserves a very particular amount of chalantness, if you will. That's not a word, by the way. Some very particular things going on that I felt the need to address, and I figure we should just get them out of the way quickly so that we can just have fun the rest of the stream. No need to be scared. Don't worry. This is the first question that I want to bring up today on stream. I'm sure that Niji fans...
So if you guys don't know, by the way, Marshmallow is like a anonymous Q&A system. You might have seen your friends do it on like Instagram or something, where essentially it's a page where people can submit messages completely anonymously, and people answer them, and it can either be a personal thing, with just some of your friends, or it could be on a bigger scale, for example, with Vanta and VTubers. So again, this is where that's coming from if you don't know.
Livers and ex-livers would love to see future collaborations. I don't want to sound mean, and you are Crochet after all. But did you not think before you tweeted that joke? Because PL jokes like those hinder any progress of seeing collabs and interactions. So I figure we should take this down right now. I feel like so many people use these anonymous platforms as a way to, ask questions that they normally wouldn't be able to. And, I get that. That's fun. That's fun. However, this is really interesting because it's not really much of a question. Like, I can see the question in here, but it feels very rhetorical. It feels like you already have an answer. So I do want to say this. I do want to address this. So for one thing, this tweet that you're talking about, it's very interesting that you say that PL jokes like those hinder any progress of seeing collabs and interactions, because it's so interesting. Which person were you talking about? Because I'm pretty sure I know what tweet you're talking about. I'm actually almost 100% positive that I do know what tweet you're talking about. What are you referring to? Because I never alluded to knowing anyone, a person having any connection to me, or anyone knowing me, or anything.
So also, if you don't know, just to kind of clear it up as well, I'm pretty sure by PL joke, they mean a past life joke. As you know, with VTubers and things, they have past lives, whether that was, they used to be a VTuber, they used to be an IRL tuber, they used to be anything. Maybe they didn't even exist, but obviously a lot of people are concerned with, certain connections between VTubers. So, for example, like Vanta here, obviously he says he knows what tweet it is. I didn't actually see what tweet it was, but obviously he has connections from his past, and if he makes it known that those connections are still there, some people don't like that because they feel like it's not within his character. Again, I don't see a big issue with it, as, I think they should just be able to interact with anybody they want, and I'm more of a big fan of the kind of just indie VTuber scene where essentially, they are literally just themselves. They aren't really playing a character. They aren't playing a role where essentially they know and don't know people. But obviously, whenever it comes to this, obviously it is a concern for some people. So just to clear that up.
Of the matter. A lot of the replies to said tweet were very loud. A lot of them were laughing. A lot of them thought it was really funny. They got a kick out of it. But at the end of the day, they were just laughing. And anybody that was to click into that conversation might just think, oh, wow, that just must be a really funny inside joke. But then so many people started crying about it. Why? And I know a lot of you think that you're safe on your private accounts, saying whatever you want. Oh, boy, he's doing this. Oh, boy, he's breaking contract. Oh, boy, he's disrespecting this person in this group of people.
Yeah, so essentially, obviously he made a joke, a past life joke with, I'm assuming someone else, right? And a lot of people, started to kind of say this kind of stuff, being like, oh, is he breaking contract? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? And obviously it can spread pretty quickly and get pretty bad.
Graduated livers, he's doing all this. Did you speak to them? Have you read my contract? Are you staff? Are you my manager? How do you know this? I've seen way more than you think, and I want you to know that you're being very loud and also very wrong. A broken clock is right twice a day, but Jesus Christ, you guys are somehow finding a way to beat even that stereotype. Please stop getting mad about certain livers' actions, assuming that there's some greater implication than there actually is, and then using that as a kind of piggyback to spout complete and utter nonsense. Here's the crazy thing. Once again, I want to state what I said did not allude to anything. A vast majority of the replies were just laughter and utter befuddlement. It didn't become a problem until people started crying about it. Have you considered that this oh so precious PL etiquette that you constantly crave and rave about, have you considered that the ones that are actually breaking PL etiquette are you? I spoke slowly. I did my best to speak in a very concise and informative manner because I could have made you feel really, really silly. However, I'm in a really great mood today, and I did not to start off on such a negative note, you know? It's so unfortunate that we have to get to things like this because ultimately, you're not like a close friend of mine. You're not my manager. You're not another liver. You're not a close friend of another liver. You're not staff, and you're not Riku Tazumi. So why exactly do you feel so comfortable spouting what is effectively utter nonsense? Like, you actually don't know what you're talking about. And a lot of the tweets that I've seen on the TL from both private accounts and non-private accounts just genuinely don't know what they're talking about. How can you
Which, yeah, obviously is a big issue, and this is why a lot of Nijisanji members have an issue with a lot of these Nijisisters and people being very parasocial towards them, because obviously they feel like they know them like personally or something. Obviously, you know, being a streamer is a, you know, quite an intimate thing. You know a lot about them, what they're up to, you know, what their personality is like, but at the same time, you don't actually know them. You don't know what's in their contract. You don't know if they're allowed to talk about their past life. You know, there could be a clause in his contract that says he's allowed to. Now, is it likely? Probably not. But at the same time, you still don't know. You're not their manager. You're not, you know, Nijisanji themselves. Nobody actually knows. And obviously, it's all of this case of a lot of people trying to make stuff up, trying to essentially, you know, get a little bit too parasocial and too into it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And obviously, Vanta himself knows his own limits. He knows what he's not allowed to talk about. He knows who he's allowed to interact with, who he's not allowed to interact with, and stuff like that. Which, again, is obviously a big problem because there's so many people pushing him and telling him he can't do this, he can't do that, without the fact of them knowing exactly what he can and can't do.
speak so confidently on something that you don't know about? I just don't get it. Now, I get it that you're looking at another model and you're thinking, oh man, this group should function in the same way. Well, you don't know that. So why? Why do you do that? I think you should stop. I think if a liver or multiple livers do something that you don't like, and you think that and you believe in your heart of hearts that there is a grander implication or a grander negative implication that will come as a result of their actions, I would suggest that you just be quiet because you just look silly. Thank you very much. I appreciate your input on the matter. However, it is unfortunately not needed and very, very incorrect. So, yeah. Please take care, all right? I hope that whoever wrote this message anonymously and dissenters that also believe in this message, I hope that you will decide to rethink everything. Okay? Thank you for listening. Also, I know that a majority of the people that probably feel this way, I can imagine that they don't watch me. Or if they do, maybe they just had a little bit of a slip up. Regardless, I wish you well. Ah, man, that feels nice. Okay, now that we've done that, I have another one. All right. Man, you wrote quite a bit for this. This one's interesting. It's a good thing this is anonymous. I feel so much less mean for making someone feel so silly. No offense and not an accusation, but I found it pretty unfair for other artists that should use the same artist thumbnail for almost the whole game series. There are plenty more artists I know who are holding back because they know they wouldn't be chosen, so they just stop trying. It's a bit unpleasant to watch for normal crew like us too, since you've been interacting with her more often than others. I even had to scroll away just to not see the thumbnails right in front of me, despite her being a controversy in the Kindred community. So this is interesting. This is really interesting. This is very, very interesting. I don't really get it, for one thing, because why are we policing me? For one thing, why are we policing?
Again, this is another case of them trying to be very controlling, thinking they know better, thinking they know what's really going on, and essentially saying you can't only use this one artist for thumbnails. There's other artists out there who want to do these thumbnails. Again, it's not up to this one random viewer. It's up to Vanta himself to, you know, obviously decide who is doing them.
Policing an artist in the community, and why are we acting this way? All you sound is extremely jealous. Frankly, this is just mean-spirited. This is just a mean-spirited message, a mean-spirited question. And I want you all to know that I got at least 3 other marshmallows about this exact, situation. I don't know why all of you have so many problems. I don't know the situation. I don't know the details. However, I just want to state, I have had other games that I've played where one artist has done all of the thumbnails. In that situation, I was extra thankful and shouted out that artist as often as possible. But nobody seemed to have an issue with it then. Don't really quite understand this one. But what I do want to say is that I hope that you think a bit more before you speak. Like the last message accused me of not doing. It really feels like this just came out really mean-spirited. And I really hope that you rethink how you approach these things. Because
yeah, it seems like a lot of these messages do feel just mean-spirited. And yeah, a lot of people, as Vanta says, are not thinking before they speak, which is crazy. And I don't know if they have some level of entitlement. They feel like they can just kind of tell him what to do and things. But again, it does feel absolutely horrible. And especially, you know, a lot of these messages saying you got 3 of the same thing, asking for the same thing. It's crazy, you know? It's his decision on who makes the thumbnails and whatever goes on with his channel, right? And it shouldn't be up to any of the viewers. Now, they can make suggestions, sure, if there's any suggestion place to do it. But, like, obviously, a lot of it isn't suggestions. It feels like they are just trying to just be mean. I don't, you know, I don't really think it's anything else. You know, as they mentioned with the first kind of message that came across, they kind of formatted it like a question, but as Vanta says, it's more of a rhetorical question. They already have their answer. They just, like, for some reason formatted it like that because, I don't know, maybe it comes off a little bit less mean, but at the same time, it's just like, bro, it's just weird, you know? It's very, very weird.
Because for one, again, this is not cool. Second of all, to use this platform, you know, me trying to answer some really nice questions for my community, and you choose to do it with this. It just feels really bad. It just feels...
Yeah, again, Marshmallow is probably one of the worst places to do it, because obviously you're going to get a lot of messages like this, or even worse, potentially, you know, some kind of hate messages as well through stuff like this, because again, it gives people an open kind of playing field to send anonymous messages to you, right? And many people can go really far with that. So I never think for a big community, Marshmallow is the best idea, unless maybe you've got mods sifting through the messages for you to cover for like a stream or something. Again, I do think, you know, obviously it is a nice idea, but when you've got such a big kind of audience, you're going to get like a lot of messages like this of people trying to police you, people just being outright just rude and mean, or just saying horrible things because they feel like they can get away with it because, you know, it's anonymous. Well, they can get away with it, but, you know, it just gives them more of an output to do so.
It was really bad. Don't really get the whole situation. By the way, for those confused, they are talking about, what is it, Yui, who has done the vast majority of my Elden Ring, Night Rain thumbnails. If you look at my Elden Ring thumbnail series, I don't really fully understand it. It's just a bit goofy. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Because again, I've had other series that I've played where one artist did a vast majority of the thumbnails. And
also, I think having one artist for like a series like Elden Ring, Night Rain, things like that, having one artist consistently doing it for each stream or episode or whatever it is, would actually provide a little bit more consistency and make it more of a series. You know, obviously, sure, if you want to switch up the artist every series or so, right, and have a different artist do it for another series, right, I think that honestly could be a better, more consistent way of creating content. I think it's actually better to have one artist working on one kind of series or one game or whatever is going on.
I was extra appreciative of them. Let's just not, okay? Let's just not do this. This is just not cool. This is just really, really, really weird behavior. Really weird behavior. Because what am I gonna do? Not use art done for me? I don't understand. Why would I not do that? I can think of multiple scenarios where, their art was used over someone else's. An instance I can think of is my collab with, and again, this is no shade to any artist. I'm gonna bust out receipts because, you know, I think that this is just gonna be more helpful because the fact that I got 4 of these, really bothersome. Just gonna bring out the receipts. They're in my head. So they're not technically receipts, but I distinctly remember it going this way. There was a situation with my collab with Zally and Rai. I had used her thumbnails, and another artist had did one. However, I did not see it, but I believe it was not posted until the morning of the collab. The collab was at like 6 a.m. my time. Or no, I think it was pretty late actually, it was 8 p.m. I didn't see it until after. The waiting room had already been created, and then they did it. I can't remember the other situation. But like, there hasn't been many. For the vast majority of the times that I've used their thumbnails, they've just done them. Why would I not use them? I don't understand why I wouldn't use art that's been done for me. I've used other thumbnails for solo streams. I've used other thumbnails for collabs of Night Rain. So I don't really get what the problem is. Don't really get it. Don't really get it. Do you not have any problems with Garnet? Garnet has done a lot of my thumbnails. A lot of my thumbnails across my entire channel. But nobody has a problem with Garnet, so that's weird. I'm pretty sure there are series on my channel where they have done all the thumbnails for an entire game. They were the only ones to do thumbnails. Where's your Marshmallow about them? Why are we singling out artists? Again, weird behavior, really weird behavior, okay? Let's not do this again. This one was a bit less, like, you know, is less polarizing, but still very weird. So let's not do it again.
So yeah, obviously that was the main clip, right? And I think it is great that Vanta has actually called out this kind of, you know, behavior that's been going on, because again, it is one of these issues that has been very prevalent in the Nijisanji community. You know, a lot of these kind of parasocial, quite controlling fans have been, you know, taking over, and I think that, you know, it doesn't matter which streamer it is, they still do it, right? And it seems like Vanta has had enough of this and is, you know, obviously speaking about it and trying to address it, which I think is great, because if you do just ignore these messages, which you could have easily done as well, and I think there's no problem with that too, if you did just ignore it, then obviously at the same time, you know, you're just kind of helping it grow even further due to the fact of not calling it out. But I think calling it out might actually make a couple people think twice about what they say next time, and kind of be a little bit less controlling, but they are pretty crazy at the same time. So I feel like there will be still some people out there that will still try to do this. Sorry. So again, obviously it is pretty bad. But obviously people talking saying Kuru was really 100% dead on about the Nijisisters. They're crazy. He said no, they're insane. You know, the kind of people who like someone but are so insane that they drive that person away, probably get slapped with 1,000 straight restraining orders. Agreed. So warned people on the EN side of the web about these folks since the Aloe incident, about how they'll just try to ruin other people / groups, and it's a shame more people didn't listen. The bad habits and activities just repeated within their EM branch's fan base. I see them on Twitter starting to bleed over into the stars, going by the Oshi marks, and it's worrisome. Which, yeah, you know, people are worried about this group. People saying, as someone who used to Oshi Vanta before the Solan situation, I'm so glad I left when I did, because I would not be able to have any sanity left dealing with these delusional Nijisisters. Now, obviously, yeah, I think Vanta was involved a little bit in the Solan stuff again. So that is something to keep in mind. But I think for this isolated incident, Vanta has actually responded to this pretty well, in my opinion. I think that he's done a pretty good job, but obviously they're saying Vanta again being very confrontational about viewers trying to police him and push him around. Also, Nijisisters, please stop sniffing bro's underwear for the smell of other women. Please, you're not even his real sister, and he's going to call the police if he sees you going through his underwear. They complain about brand antis, and they're going to do this to their own livers. Holy. This is one of the dumbest things I've read, the marshmallow, I mean. Unpleasant? Like, what does that even mean? If you're doing art to be chosen, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. With fans like these, who needs antis, you know? So Lamau, yeah, only time the thumbnails were a problem is because of jealous mean girl kindred. Shocker. You know, Vanta is addressing a couple marshmallows. He's telling people to be respectful. Don't send weird marshmallows to livers, trying to stir up drama and then spinning it into a narrative that there's a greater implication of things than there actually is. He's saying his tweet had no deep meaning and don't try to spin it into a bad narrative, which, yeah, obviously is a good kind of summarization of what happened, really. But yeah, it's a very interesting situation. Obviously, I think, as I said, Vanta has responded to this pretty well, and I think his stance against a lot of these viewers is actually a good stance. I think that's a, especially a development, I guess, in a lot of the stuff that's going on. Obviously, I don't know too much about Vanta outside of this, so again, I can't really comment on any of that kind of stuff. But I think for this, I think it's a good response to a lot of the Nijisisters who have been causing a bit of havoc online, and yeah, just trying to do this weird stuff, on stream. So yeah, moral of the story is don't be weird, leave these VTubers alone, and just let them do what they would think is best for their channel. And yeah, that's about it, really. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.